What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to be taking a look at the FansToys Bandit, or their version of a Masterpiece Scale Deadend. And no, this isn't an April Fool's. We are finally here with the review of Bandit, and it has been a long time. I've seen different numbers out there. I think it's somewhere on the order of 5 years from the time we first saw this until now. And of course, they were working on the combined mode. We are going to do a review just of this guy today, of Bandit. We will do another review of the combined mode. I'm going to show you how to put together the combined mode. But today we're just going to look at this guy. I also asked people if they wanted a review of the truck and base mode. And I think the final answer was I can skip the truck and base mode. But if I have time later this week, I will put together that review as well. That'll be a third review. We're also going to do a comparison. So stay tuned for all those. But today we're just going to look at this guy. There's something you need to do out of box for this guy. And I showed some of it in the unboxing, but I just want to be more clear with it. First of all, you're going to unplug this panel from here. Fold that down. This will flip out and around. And then you're going to flip this whole thing in. There's two little pegs here. Will fit in two little slots on his backpack. Just get that plugged in right there. That should fit in nice and flat. Then we can take his upper section here, unplug it from here. It's just tabbed in here and here. I'm going to take this. This is going to fold over and sit on his backpack, flat like that. There's a little bit of backpack and kibble on his back, but it does hide that joint there once you fold this down. Then you're going to want to take care of the feet. So you come to the bottom and open up this panel here just to give you a little room. Fold this down. We're going to flip this heel down. Then we're going to flip forward this panel. And that's actually the foot. And it's a little irritating because the foot and the heel move on separate planes. So make sure you line up the foot and the heel. You should have those two pins lined up. But you're still able to move the toe separately from the heel. Alright, and just do the same thing on this side as well. And now we're ready for action with this guy. And he does look good. He's got pretty much 100% painted. You've got, starting at the top of the head, this gunmetal bluish gray, pink for the eye mask, you got orange for the face, gunmetal silver here, this bluish silver here on the chest, more of that gunmetal, nice metallic maroon. I guess this is metallic as well. You'll see more of the car details, but he does have chrome wheels and marker symbols. Here's the back. The legs are clean. The backpack, I'd argue, is not as clean. It does cover up with this piece here, but less clean than the rest, but overall, not too bad. All right, let's go over his articulation. Head is on a rotating swivel, so it rotates around, goes up to there, a little bit more, and down to there. No side to side, just due to the way it's articulated. Shoulder can rotate around on a ratchet joint. There is a hinge here, so if you want to bring the shoulders up a little bit higher, you can kind of get them up. I mean, they're meant to be straight out like this, but you can kind of have them up higher like this if you prefer. So there's a little bit of upward movement here. You can get the shoulders all the way up like this due to the transformation. You have a rotation here at the bicep and a cut joint. You have a double jointed elbow, but it's really silly because this has a stopper built in. So the upper joint can only go to here, and then the lower joint goes to there, getting you basically 90, not even 90. And no matter how you do it, you could get a reverse more than 90, but you can't get it forward. And it just seems silly. Why'd they put a stopper here? Right? Like, you didn't need that. You could have gotten this to go further. So that does seem a little strange. Rotation at the wrist. Individually articulated fingers at 2 pins, and then the thumb is on a ball joint that moves independently, but the same hands we've been getting for all of these guys. Basic hands. They do work. Coming down to the waist, you have a waist rotation. It gets up to there until it collides. It's this that's colliding. So during my unboxing, I did it incorrectly. You just want to lift up a little bit, and then you can rotate it all the way around. No problem. It's this that's hitting, so you can actually rotate it and then put it back down. And now you've got, you know, whatever pose you want. So you can just do that anywhere. No ab crunch. Pretty much all of them. Most of them don't have ab crunch. Hip skirts on the front and the side. Although you may not need them, but you get up to there, a little past 90. Back to there on a ratchet. Short of 90. And then out to the side on friction. It holds. This one is a little less weight than the other ones. I think just due to there's less die cast down here in the feet. Not a terrible thing, but it just feels a little bit light in hand compared to some of the others due to the die cast not being down there. Rotation of the thigh around a universal. You can extend down the thighs just because that's, you know, part of the transformation, but you know, you can make them taller if you wanted to. I don't know. I just wanted, but make sure that they're both collapsed to the same height. Otherwise, you'll have him standing unevenly, and you want to make sure they're even. For the feet, you have ankle tilts, so the toe and the heel tilt together. But if you tilt forward on the toe, it doesn't help you, you know, pose him. So you do have to tilt on the heel. Make sure you're tilting on the heel. Then you can even out. So if you're having trouble where he's kind of like leaning forward a little bit, then just come back to here, tilt that heel, both of them, a little bit. And then now he stands a little bit more straight. So I noticed that out of box. I thought it was a little strange, but you can adjust it so it works. As far as the accessories, we get 2 beautifully sculpted and painted blasters. These look really nice. I like how they look. They match the paint on his body, but you can plug these into the hands. And they fit nicely and they look good. You know, they're really good looking weapons. I like that they gave all of these guys 2 weapons. Just you know, added bonus. Actually, what is it, 2? I think they all had 2. I'll have to go back and look, but yeah, that just looks really good. We also get an alternate face. So this one, you can kind of see he's got a very small nose. It's like just a little bump right there. And here's the alternate face. It's got a longer nose. So that's the difference. You can lift up on the neck. I recommend having a spudger handy, not only for this, but for this figure in general. And just pop off the face. It's got 2 pegs holding it on. Actually 3 pegs. There's one in the center. And then pop on the new face. And there it is. I prefer this one with the longer nose. I just think the short nose looks a little weird, but I mean, it's your choice. You can have whichever one you want. Nice to have that option. We haven't really gotten a lot of faces with these guys, so it's good to have that. And for comparison, there it is with the rest of the FansToys StunnaCon team. And they look really good together. You know, it is satisfying to kind of see them all together like this. They really look like a, you know, cohesive team. Overall, the paint job and the color schemes, they just really stand out, and on a shelf, definitely very rewarding to see. All right, and for another size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime and the Takara Tomy version of Prowl. And I think a sticking point for some people is the size, how much bigger this guy is in robot mode compared to other Carbots in the Masterpiece line. And so I'm going to put up this size comparison chart picture. And I didn't remember this when these FansToys and DX9 figures first started coming out, but the StunnaCons were actually bigger than the Carbots in robot mode, but then they were the same size in vehicle mode. So that's one of those things that's just a little odd about the cartoon. So this does work for me personally, but I know some people, they want it to be the same size, and X-Transbots did make them the same size. So if you're looking for that, you know, that would probably make more sense. And for comparison, there it is next to the DX9 Kulkinski, their version of Deadend. And I am going to be doing a full comparison on these two guys, so I don't want to belabor it, but just on a surface level, just based on looks alone in robot mode, I do prefer the FansToys. But there's a lot more to it than that, so stay tuned for the full comparison for more details. Alright, now we'll get this guy transformed into vehicle mode. And it's a pretty straightforward transformation, probably the simplest of all of the SunCon so far from FansToys. So let's start on the back here. We can rotate the head 180 degrees, bring up this back panel, just leave this up like that for now, so it kind of sits above the head. You can pull back on this panel, pull out on this whole section, rotate this in so it sits flat in the inside, and then just leave that there for a second. Lift up your arms, unpeg the chest, there's two tabs holding it in, just lift that up and out of the way. These blue panels on the side are going to rotate to the back, right underneath these red panels. And there's a little peg on the inside, it just kind of sits on the inside of the red panel, so you kind of know where it goes. You can lift up on this just to give yourself a little bit of room. Then we can take care of the arms. So we're going to open up this panel on the top, fold out your rear view mirror on the back, open up that panel, fold the hand in. We can collapse the arm down on the elbow, bring this back, tab it in, fold this all the way down, it should be flush on the surface, and then fold that down and tab that in. That's one arm. Do the other one, it's pretty quick and easy, so let's just do it again. Open up that panel, fold the hand in, close the bottom panel, collapse your elbow in, and then tab this in. Right, now we have that. We're going to collapse the arms in. You can see there's a little cavity right above the arm. So the whole thing's going to collapse in. I like to get this tab up and into here. Then I like to get this in. So you can fold these in just a little bit. Then we're going to collapse down the arms. And again, you want to get this bottom one in. Seal this, bring this up, and get that bottom one underneath. So here's how we're looking. Then we can bring this down and tab it together. So now I tabbed in those side pieces. Come to the bottom here, and you don't want to open that up, but this one already went in, but you're going to squeeze this together so the tabs on the inside tab in, and it's nice and flush. Right? Make sure this windshield is all the way up and pushed forward like that. Come to the front and bring this down, and two pegs here are going to tab this front section in, and then you're going to take this hood. This hood just has two little pegs. You can peg that in, and you can push back on this while pushing down on that hood. You should be able to get that nice and flush as well. And by the way, if you want the head facing down, you can transform it that way. An early video of this guy showed the head facing down, so you can have a peekaboo car mode if you want. I don't, but you can do that if you like. Alright, let's work on the back section. By the way, keep this open for now. We're not going to close that just yet. So you do want to pull down on the legs. Initially, I was like, what good does this do? But it actually helps you at the last step here when you're combining the legs together. So come to the outside here. Open up this panel. That'll allow you to open up this whole panel. We're going to fold in these little tabs. We're going to fold out. Then you can fold this in where you took that out. Come to the inside here, there's a little retaining clip. And this retaining clip, if you're having trouble where your knee is doing this, then that's because that retaining clip isn't in. So you want that pushed in for robot mode. But you're going to bring this down, straighten this out. It's going to sit right here on the inside against this bar. All right. Then we can take care of the foot. So fold the foot down, collapse this up. This will end up sitting up against here. So it's actually the bottom of the heel now. Then you take this whole section, fold the entire foot in, and you should have the screws on the bottom. Then close this down, and this sits on top of there. Then we can take this whole section, rotate this in to here. And because you have this little gap here, you can bring this over. You're going to work this onto here. And then we're going to collapse this down, peg it in the back. Right? Now this side is exactly the same, but I'm going to leave the last section open just to show you the benefit of opening up that thigh. All right, now they got both legs transformed. This final panel is much easier to do if you've got the leg extended. You'd have to clear this little tab here, so bring this down. But with that open, it's much easier to do this. Then you can plug it in there, and now collapse down those thighs. And make sure this is all squeezed together, and then you're going to peg this together. There's a couple pegs on the top and the bottom. Give that a nice squeeze. It should come together very flush. All right, last step here, we're going to collapse this down. I like to get the top tabs in first. So collapse this down and get those top tabs in, then push these side tabs in. It gets easier as you transform it a few times. The first time it's going to be really tight. All right, let's get that squeezed in there. And then on the bottom, you're going to take this panel. There's a tab there going into a slot here. 2 pegs here going into 2 slots there. Bring that down and tab that in securely. All right, and there is Bandit in alt mode. And I really like how this looks. Very clean overall. It does have some panel breakup here and there, but overall a nice looking vehicle. The blue headlights I think are, hate or love it kind of thing. I think they're okay. I would have preferred clear over the blue, but I think they look okay. You got translucent yellow up here and translucent orange marker lights, chrome wheels with rubber tires. Rolls beautifully. You got kind of a tinted amber for the glass all the way around. You got a rear windshield wiper, single wiper back there, double wipers on the front, which is accurate to this vehicle. Translucent yellow for the taillights, and you have a little sculpted in exhaust pipe, but not actually painted. Overall, a good looking vehicle, nice, solid piece here. We can bring in the weapons, and these will plug in right here on the spoiler. So you can see there's a little indent right there. And same on the other side, you can fold it. So that's basically how it looks. Not too bad. I like the weapon storage. And for comparison, there he is next to the rest of the FansToys StonicCon team. And they do look good together. I have to say the vehicle modes, seeing them together like this is very satisfying. They all look really nice. I will say the blue headlights stand out a little bit here just because none of the team actually has. They all have translucent, clear headlights. But still, it is satisfying to have them together. I do like that they all have the weapons mounted on top. It really looks good. And for more traditional size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. And fits in nicely in the Masterpiece scale. And I really like how they got the vehicle modes to shrink down, even though the robot modes are bigger than the standard Masterpiece car. So, it really works here. So final recommendations on the FansToys Bandit. And this one's a little complicated just because of the feelings and expectations I have on this one. But I'm just going to talk about the robot mode and vehicle mode for now. I'm going to give it, say, 4 to 5. I'm going to recommend it. It is a soft recommend, but I do recommend it. Robot mode looks really nice. The paint job is spectacular, as always, with FansToys. The weapons are good looking, sculpted nicely. I do like the alternate face sculpt, which you don't normally get with these StonicCon figures. I prefer the one that didn't come installed on it, but it's nice to have the option. Robot mode Articulation is basic. It is basically what we've been getting. I found it a little ironic that they gave you a double jointed elbow, but because of the way it's sculpted, you can only get 90 degrees. It becomes a basic joint, even though it's double jointed elbows. No ab crunch as usual on these figures. No extra joints at the knee. It's just very, it does everything it needs to do, but it's basic. Vehicle mode, I think, does look really good. They nailed the look of the vehicle, the sculpt of it. I like the look of the wheels and the tires. I like the weapons mount on the back, although you do have to be careful with the scraping. It just functions the way it's supposed to. That being said, the question I think people are going to have is this worth the value? And it's not really fair of me to judge that until we get to combine mode, because this can only be bought with the combined mode parts. You can't buy it separately on its own. So I'm going to reserve judgment on the value piece. But I would say personally, the weight, the length of time we waited, and the price that we're paying here, it does feel a little bit lackluster. But as far as this figure on its own, I do say it's a good figure. I do recommend it on its own. But that's it for today. Stay tuned for the combined mode review. We will be doing a comparison with the DX9 version, so stay tuned for that as well. And we'll see you next time.